And just big picture for this series, what Julius was able to do. Just what stood out to you about that, and just kind of reflecting on the whole season of what he's kind of built to get to this point. Like what sticks out in your mind?
Just how he create for others, and his impact on the game. The way he controlled the tempo, the way he pushed the pace, the way he bring us along with him when he pushes the pace, and just even his defense. His defense has gone to another level. The way that he communicates with us, like his attention to detail, everything, man. It's incredible. It's incredible to be his teammate, and he brings it every night, and he shows you that he wants to win. So I'm happy to have him next to me.
You were confident last season after the Western Conference Finals that you would be back here. I think you said we will be back. What fueled that, and what did you have to do over the course of the season to get here individually and collectively as a group?
A lot of ups and downs. Just had to stay with it. And what fueled it? I mean, we lost last year, so just trying to take that into the summer. I didn't have too much personal workout time because I was with the USA team, but the time that I did have, I definitely had that in the back of my mind.
Rudy, you've come up big in these closeout games in the first two rounds. Just what was your mindset going into this, and how did you assert yourself tonight the way that you needed to?
For me, it was just about being present, try to enjoy the moment. I try to really focus on my preparation, and then once I'm on the floor, it's just about enjoying the moment, being present of both ends, try to set the tone for my team and for my teammates, and doing it with my energy, and then usually the game takes care of itself, but when you kind of like in that moment and enjoying that moment, you're just yourself, and I try to be that every night.
This was an entirely different ride to the conference finals from last year. Is there more satisfaction or anything just with all of the ups and downs that you guys went through that you stayed together and you're right back where you were last year?
There's no satisfaction.
Yeah,
we just got here. We haven't done anything yet, so no, he's not satisfied.
That's exactly how it feels. It feels good to get to that step, but his stomach is not full, not at all. It's just one step, and in a way, last year it felt different because it was a game 7. We down I don't know how many at half, and we came back and won. So obviously, the adrenaline was different, right? But this year it's kind of like we sat down early in the season. We said we're gonna get back right where we left last year, and then we want to achieve our goal. And now we are halfway there. So it's we know that it's not gonna get easier at all, and we focused on that.
And when you were talking about the Warriors earlier in the series, you talked about how they have a championship pedigree. What do you believe it says about your team, the way they were able to bounce back after game 1 and go on to win the series against a team with championship pedigree?
Says a lot. I told him today, the most together team and the most mature team is the team that wins around this time. It's not about who get 30 points, who get the most shots, who get all the blame for winning the game, and it's not about none of that. It's about coming together as a team. Can we defend at a high level, and can we limit the other team to one shot? It doesn't really matter about offense. As long as we get good shots, and it don't matter who shoot it. So we did that tonight.
And is there any lesson that you learned from the Dallas series that stuck with you that maybe you've applied throughout the regular season or throughout the playoffs thus far?
Nope. Just a loss.
How about Rudy? Was there anything you think when you look back to the last year's Western Conference Finals that was missing for the team from your team that maybe that you have more of going into this year's?
I think for us, it's our approach. More importantly, it's not about talent. It's not about us wanting to win or not, right? We want to win, but it's about staying, level-headed after a win like we had last year against Denver, Game 7. I felt like you got the whole world praising you, and and all of a sudden you went from being an underdog to being the favorite. I think in a way we weren't mature enough to handle that yet, but we were much aware of it, and this year I feel like we're mature enough. I feel like we understand where we at, and so in a way that's the lesson. In our preparation, in our approach, it's about us. It's not about who we face. It's about our mindset, and when our mindset and our work and our attention to details, our level of urgency is right, we know we can play with anyone.
Question for both of you. Obviously, there's been some history between you guys, the Timberwolves and Jimmy Butler and Draymond. How personal was this?
I don't have no history with those guys, so it wasn't personal. It was just trying to get a win.
I don't know about the Jimmy thing. I wasn't there.
Yeah, I don't have no history with nobody.
I have a lot of respect for those two guys. They're both highly competitive players, for me, it's just about I'm just focused on trying to win a championship. What happened, and there's nothing really personal. I think it's also a team game, so they both accomplished great things. But now I feel like now it's for me personally, I'm just focused on writing my own story, and to each individual has their own journey and story, and I'm just trying to accomplish my dream, my goal, winning a championship. That's all I care about.
And going back to the Western Conference Finals, how different does it feel this year? How prepared do you feel? How much more prepared do you feel to try to get it done this time?
I can't really speak on how prepared I feel because I don't know. We haven't started playing yet, but hopefully I'm more prepared than I was last year.
And I think there was a story in an All-Star game that they asked you to throw a lob coming out, and you told the coach, "I don't throw lobs." Yeah. You threw a lot of them today. Yeah. Just like, what are you seeing in that, and how much more comfortable are you in that?
How many threw today?
I threw like 3-4 on today, right? Like Root comes up to me every time out, Sack, you got to read it, and I need that because it's there a lot. And I tell Jaden all the time, like when I'm driving, cut that corner because most of the time your man trying to play two, and if you cut, he can't play two. Now he got to make a decision. Do he want to give up an easy 2 points or a corner three? So just reading the game, and then Sehan's bringing the clips to me every time out when I'm out of the games, and we watching it and I'm analyzing it. Just trying to break the game down for sure before I go back in, before I check back in.
Rudy, big game for Mike Conley tonight. I was thinking about in the bubble, I think it was, he had that final shot to go to the Western Conference Finals that rimmed out. Yeah. I guess for both of you guys, like to see him specifically get to this point, I know it means a lot to you, but I guess, Rudy, thinking back to that, and where you're at now, what does that make you think?
We've been through a lot with Mike, and I love him. I just want to, more than anything, I want to win for him, right? Because it's like, we've been. I just know how much he cares about winning. How
Mike
great,
play through anything, man.
How great of a guy he is, and I want to say I want to do it for Joe, but I don't care about Joe actually. but for
Mike Conley, man, he's the ultimate vet the best vet you can ask for, man. Plays through everything, never complains, always knows the right thing to say, always knows where to be. Yeah, and just great guy to look up to for sure.
And you guys didn't need it tonight, but there have been a couple key points. Lakers fourth quarter, game 4, Golden State game 3, where you guys were down and in tough spots, and you had some really tough shots. What has it kind of been like figuring out when to take those and just the confidence to drill them when you guys really got to have them?
Just trusting the work, man. Like I know I trust myself, so anytime I tell them, like, it's time for that. So they already know. They know what it is. Like when I get in that mode, just give me the ball and try to get me open. I tell them all the time, like, you set a good screen, we're gonna score. I promise you. So,
Rudy, what is it like as a team? Maybe when the chips are stacked against you guys, to almost have kind of like a get out of jail free card sometimes with some of the shots he can make.
It's kind of like finding that balance for me. It's like I think now compared to last year and the previous years, I think he's really finding a way to choose these moments and understanding momentum. Understanding like when to take them, maybe when not to take them, and also he's such a unique scorer and such a high confident player. I realize that sometimes just gotta let him do his thing, and then sometimes gonna miss it, he's gonna make it, sometimes gonna miss it, but you gotta let him do his thing, and you gotta rely.
I miss for later.
But yeah, just communicate with him, but also let him do his thing and try to. I always tell him I'm gonna get you a good shot. I'm gonna make it easy for you to score and also tell him a lot to not settle. He can shoot from almost anywhere, so I can understand why it's good for him to settle sometimes. But I'm also like, if you play percentages, when you get to the rim, first of all, it puts a lot of pressure on the other team, and we could get some much easier stuff. So he's been great at finding that balance and not settling, using the both weapons.
Rudy, you said this morning that you felt that this game was a big test for you guys. It seems like you guys are passing a lot of tests throughout this postseason. Have you seen enough from this group that leads you to believe that you guys are at a point where you believe you can win an NBA title?
Yeah, our goal is the same. Our goal is the same, and like I said, it's about not getting too high, not getting too low. Being present, enjoying every single day, every single practice, every single game, and when the opportunity comes, just being ready. And tonight, our mindset was there, so I had zero doubt that we were gonna, pass that test. Now we halfway there, so it's almost like a new season starting.
And I don't know if you saw, but your little guy Luca, who gave you the wristband, was here tonight.
Yeah, he was fly as hell tonight.
Yeah, I was just wondering, what does that mean to have that moment with him and to know that he looks up to you and he's giving you something?
It means everything. It means the world to me. I was shooting, and he was his dad was holding him up, and I didn't realize it till 2-3 minutes left when we was warming up, and then I seen him, and he was fly as he had the glasses on, the jersey, the wristband. He was fly as hell tonight. Shout out Luca, man. I love Luca.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Julius, just how did you feel like you guys responded to the moment here tonight?
Hello. Yeah. We did great. We came out with the right approach. We knew, like I said all series, they have championship DNA, and they weren't just going to lay down. They were going to make us earn it, and they did. They fought, but we came out with the right approach, right mindset, and executed for most of the game. So.
The season took a lot of turns, a lot of ups and downs. Just what does it mean to you to see this team go through all of that to get to a conference finals here?
It's great. Just proud of our group as a whole, organization as a whole, just sticking together, having each other's backs, and, just battling through adversity together, not letting hard times, split us up as a group, but, us, having a mental toughness and, determination to say we're going to figure this thing out, because I think all of us, as a whole believe how good, we could be as a team. So, I'm extremely proud of everybody in this organization on this team.
With all the adjustments that you've made during the course of the season, fit this team, how satisfying was it in some ways to get back to that bread and butter when you knew that they needed a basket coming down tight a couple of times and getting those?
Yeah, I just try to do my best to read the game the best way I can. They threw different coverages at us, all series long, and our ability to adjust on the fly and, do what the game was, calling for us to do as, everybody on the team, each individual, it was good. So, whenever we need a basket, Coach puts me in great spots to do that. And if he needs me to play make, he puts me in great spots to do that as well. So, it's whatever the team needs in the moment.
Mike, big picture, a big part of this season, right, is incorporating Julius onto this team. How did you see Julius and Coach Finch kind of navigate that over the course of the season so it peaked and has been thriving the way it has?
Yeah, I think obviously Coach having a relationship with him prior to being here, he had a vision for what he can be for our team, and it took a minute for all of us to kind of gel and follow along with that because, it's a completely different team between him and who we had last year and on our squad. And his game, he can do so many things for us as far as his playmaking ability and how much he brings the ball up and distributes. And for a lot of us, it was a learning curve. And they did a good job of just allowing us to stick with it. There were times where we weren't playing our best early in the season, and nobody got frustrated with each other. Nobody, was down on, who our team was at that moment. We knew that if we just kept going at this, kept figuring it out, learning each other as we go, we'd hopefully be in this position we're in today.
Mike, what do you think your 2015 self after playing the Warriors would think of where you are all of this time, having as much fun as it seems like you're having?
I wouldn't have thought I'd been still playing, honestly. Have another chance to play against them, but I'd be proud of where we're at right now. Having lost to them, 10 plus years ago, whatever it was, with the team that we felt that was championship ready at that moment, hurt a lot, and then it took me another 9-10 years to even get back to competing again at that same level. So just happy to be back in the situation with these guys. Wouldn't want to be with anybody else, and looking forward to the next 4.
Mike, at the end of the conference finals last year, Ant came straight up to you. He said, "We'll be right back here." Just what does it speak to Ant having that much confidence and belief in coming right back, and how is he as a leader that we don't see from the inside out?
What you learn about him, he believes everything he says. No matter what it is. And at that moment last year, I believed him. I believed that we'd have another opportunity together, and this wasn't the end of the road. And he'd been working all summer for that. He worked all season for that, and he's led us to this point. Him, Julius, Dante, all the people that have followed along and added in piece by piece as we go. It kind of all starts with him and his belief in himself and his teammates.
Julius, as said, when you came back from injury, you just seemed like a totally different person. When do you feel like it clicked for you that you can be what we've been seeing so far this postseason? How excited are you moving forward to perform at the next level?
Yeah, I mean, during that time, it was right before All-Star, a couple weeks before All-Star, whatever, I got hurt. And, usually typically when you go into All-Star break, you got time to just reflect on the season as a whole and how things have been going. And, that process started a little bit earlier for me, and then, obviously leading into All-Star. So, I got to see our team from afar. I think the other thing for me during that time that helped me, it was even though I was playing and just talking to my agent Aaron Mintz and stuff like that, he was always telling me just be engaged with your teammates even though you're on the sideline. And I think that was another moment of growth for me in a way, because even though I wasn't playing, just being engaged, cheering for the guys, encouraging, being able to use my voice in a way that maybe I haven't been comfortable in the past with. I just try to lead by example. So I felt even though I wasn't playing, I was still with the team. And after I came back, just my mindset was how can I help this team win? And it was just as simple as that.
Julius, beyond that, too, what else has felt different for you during this playoff run? Because obviously you've just been so consistent and so dominating. Is it the coaching? Is it your chemistry with your teammates? What is it that's different this time?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. I think it's just environment, coaching staff, my chemistry with my teammates, their belief in me, my belief in them as well. And I just think, environment matters. And, since I've gotten here from day one, they've been special, everybody. So,
Julius, have you expanded your game since coming from New York? Are you doing more
I don't know if that's the case. I just always said that Finch has just been great. From the day I got here, I just knew the type of coach he was, and I just think he's just done an amazing job of just allowing me to use all my tools. I don't necessarily want to just be a scorer or a rebounder or whatever it is. Like, he puts me in positions to be multiple different things, many different things on any given night. So he's really just opened up my game, and I just knew eventually that would be the case, as the season went along and, my relationship and chemistry developed with my teammates.
Mike, has your view of the regular season changed at all in recent years? Talk about it being a journey, but just I think there are times where you think this is going to sink us and whatnot, and then
and say he want to go. I appreciate y'all.
Chris, just what did you see from your group from the start to kind of get you where you needed to go here tonight?
I felt confident that we'd come out and play well. And I felt like we figured out like an offensive rhythm. The last game, I thought, they give you a lot of, like we said, puzzles to solve. I thought we'd come out and play well. Really did. Fortunately, we had the cushion. I think we looked a little bit gassed at times. They just kept hustling, beat us to some balls. But thankfully, we had the cushion, and everybody stepped up and played really well. Led by our vets today. Mike, Rudy, Julius, they were really kind of leading the way. It was great to see Dante with a big game out there again, and so just a really solid effort by everybody. So,
just from a big picture standpoint, this has been an up and down year. It took you a while to find where you're at. Just what does it mean to you to be back where you were last year? And
every team goes through a lot, and it's just everyone wants to rush the process. Everybody wants everything to be great and compare it to what you've done in the past. All that's kind of irrelevant, really, when you have a new team coming into a season. And the challenge we laid down to our guys from day one was quite simple. It was one question. Were you a Western Conference Finals team, or were you a team that just happened to make the Western Conference Finals? And there's only one way to prove that. Go out and do it again. And that was our mission all year. And, it took a lot of growing pains, but the team's come together at the right time and playing its best basketball. So,
Chris, can two things be true at once? Really active, crisp ball movement and 21 turnovers at the same time?
Yeah, no doubt. I thought we had, a lot of our turnovers I thought were unforced. A bunch were in transition. We have these moments in transition where we just don't make the simple play in front of us and make it hard and try to play in a crowd. And then, just some tired ones at the end. So.
But the ball movement?
Yeah, the ball movement was great. I thought the ball movement was great. I thought our spacing was great. When you play a team in a series, you start to figure some things out, hopefully. Guys did a good job of figuring out those zone and all the changing defenses.
Chris, with Mike, you guys, and he was kind of cognizant all season of trying to maintain his body, watch his minutes, sometimes resting. What he's given you right now, and on a night like tonight, just is this what you guys had envisioned all along, and just how huge was he, especially in that first half when the game was still close?
Yeah, Mike was absolutely huge today, I wanted to try to give him as much rest as I possibly could in the first half. Just never know what a second half of a game like this is going to look like. And so I gave him a long break. Didn't start the quarter with him like we normally do or often do. And, we played pretty well. And then he came back in and, after they kind of tightened it up a little bit and just was outstanding. We did a great job of finding him. And you get him clean looks like that, he's going to make them. So.
Chris, what did you like about the way you guys were able to defend Jimmy Butler in this series, and how were you able to prevent him from having these big games that could possibly take over?
Yeah, I think, he does such a great job of drawing fouls. I mean, he got to the free throw line at a fairly decent rate, but, mostly we just try to take away his playmaking. It was really great job of getting everybody else involved. We were fortunate to have a number of guys to be able to body him. Jaden has length. Julius has physicality. Ant has physicality. and those guys, and even Rudy did a really good job when he got switched on him. So, over time that take its toll on somebody when you have to face that many defenders. So,
Chris, Ant had a career-high 12 playoff assists,
Yes.
and as a team, you had the most in franchise history for a playoff game with 36.
Yeah.
What was kind of the chicken and the egg there? Was that Ant, being fueled by the rest of the guys, or maybe Ant's passing fueling the rest of the guys?
So I think Ant's passing got us started, got us good looks early. Ant, they were putting 2 on him right away, right out of the gate, doubling him. He found Mike early. He made the right read for the most part out when they were putting 2 on him. Did a really good job when he got downhill of finding people and making the right play there. In games like this, he said before the game, or yesterday, sorry, in practice, we're going to need everybody and be ready. And both he and Julius, when they're creating shots for their teammates, this is what our offense is capable of. So.
Last year, you guys had a quick turnaround between the round 2 and the West Finals. This year, you'll have at least a few days off. How beneficial do you think that'll be?
Yeah, it's going to be huge. I mean, this series was a lot quicker than the last one. Last series, we had two days between every game. This one came faster and faster. So, plus a lot of West Coast travel. It'll be good to get a chance to take a breath and regroup and figure out, where we're going. So,
Chris, in regards to Julius, at any point over the course of the season, did you have doubt that he was going to be able to find this rhythm that he did and become the player that he became?
I mean, I guess my job is to not really doubt my own players in that capacity. So, it's hard to predict the future. I was steadfast in my belief that Julius was going to help this team when it mattered most. Like we've talked about a number of times, it was a trial and error process, like most things are. But I never really doubted the fact that he was exactly the player that could help us in moments like this. So we just had to get to moments like this.
Chris, right here. What about Julius's game do you think really lends itself to performing at a high level in the playoffs?
The physicality, the offensive physicality, the ability to get his own shot, the ability to calm the game down, the ability to put body on big wings in the league or big players. He did a great job. LeBron, he did a great job defensively here. I've really been most impressed with his defense. I mean, his offense has been. I mean, he's a phenomenal offensive player. We just had to figure out how to unlock it. But his defense and his commitment to the defensive end for us has been absolutely top drawer.
Coach, throughout these playoffs, you guys have proven that you can win with defense, monster individual scoring nights, or a total team effort like tonight. What does that say about your team, that there isn't just one path to victory?
Yeah, I mean, we know what our recipe for success is. We know what that means for us. Coming into the playoffs, our team talked a lot about the selflessness that was needed for it to be able to be anybody's night, and that every series is different, every night is going to be different, and just stay ready. Dante was huge for us tonight, big spark off the bench. We just talked about the balance with our veterans. In particular, Rudy had, probably his most impactful offensive night tonight. But those guys kept guarding and they kept doing everything else, even when the ball wasn't coming their way, and shots were not falling or they were not getting shots. So, that's all credit to our guys. They made this a point of emphasis. This is what we had to have. So,
Coach, you feel like your team is peaking at the right time?
I thought we peaked as the series went along. Every series is different. So, so you see how we started game 1. I thought we played pretty well in the Lakers series. So, you gotta get the engine going again every single time, every time you start a series. So, but we're playing well. We're doing things we know we can do to win games.
Chris, earlier in the season, I think it was out in Los Angeles, you spoke about trying to build a culture and an organization that gets a lot of kind of spins at the wheel, advancing deep into the playoffs, things like that. Obviously, second straight year you're in the Western Conference Finals. What are maybe some of the characteristics that you can identify, whether it's with the guys or the organization as a whole, that has helped you get to this point from where you started when you got here?
Well, I would say, resiliency, connectivity, preaching about, making winning plays, doing the right thing, all the cliched stuff. I think it was Dave asked me about, everybody's window. Like, the key is you got to just put yourself there as many chances as you possibly can. Tim Conley has a great line. He says the path to success is not always linear. It doesn't mean just because you went so far in the playoffs you're going to go one step further. You might not always do that, but yet come back the next year having put in place the lessons that you learn. And I think I could see some of that. I could see some of that for us in the playoffs. What we learned last year in the Dallas series. And how we were applying it, not necessarily with tactics or strategy or game plan, but more about approach and connectivity and what happens, when the pressure comes.
Obviously, Chris, to that approach, the complexion of the series obviously changed a lot when Curry went
Sure,
up. What
no
did
doubt.
you just think about your teams maintaining the proper approach really throughout the rest of the way?
Yeah, it's a tremendous loss for Golden State, no doubt. Tremendous loss for the series. And I'm sure it would have been quite different, had Steph been able to play. But our guys took care of business, and that's not something that we've always done. I thought we had a bunch of business-like approaches in this series and took advantage of something that happened and made the best of it. So no need to apologize for it. We just, went out and did it.
Chris, at one point in the season, did you personally know that this was a Western Conference Finals team and not a team that went to the Western Conference Finals?
Depend what day you ask me. That's part of the journey. But we felt confident in our group once we saw us play how we knew we could play. Let's put it that way. So.